Who wouldn't jump at that idea? People just love their taxes, don't they? Jiggle, 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 jiggle. For quite a while, I've thought about like how VTuber agencies relate to being able to support the average person trying to either be a liver, the people that stream, or that want to do the modeling, they want to do the art, they want to do animations, they want to do sound design, that kind of stuff. But they want to do it with VTubers. So they look to an agency for some kind of steady employment. But most of the time, I don't know if they can even get that. I think it's all basically all freelance work, unless certain background workers find full-time content creators like Suris here to work with. Suris, I know Vosh is also pretty good. I don't know who else. But yeah, we're going to deal with we're going to look at a video titled I Owe My Soul to the Company Town. Now, Suris is a indie VTuber. So am I. And I am wanting to know his insights on, well, what this company town is. Without further ado, I say we just get right into it.
That means you get taxed twice, potentially even 3 times. I can't wait to pay federal, state, and company tax.
What? But it's not my birthday. I love this animation. Very cute.
Guys, we gotta talk about something. This is technically a news article from a couple of years ago, but it's important that we talk about it now because with what's going on with DeSantis and Disney at the moment, we're getting a bit of renewed relevancy with this. Not to mention, Elon Musk has been making a lot of waves when it comes to conversations about whether or not businesses should be able to create their own governments. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to sell my soul to the company store. But that's a thing that apparently some people are wanting. So we need to talk about this again. But first, let's get into the fan art section. This one is from Imperial.
I forgot about his fan art section.
Or
I love
Minster?
it.
I don't. The font confuses me. The font confuses me. Oh, Imperial Winter. Wow, I can't read. I'm sorry. It's right here. I looked at the font on Discord and got screwed up. I'm sorry. But it says, not my best work, but I'm trying to get back into digital artwork again. Plus, it's in a style that I don't use very often, but it was very enjoyable to make. So I'm not...
Okay, I'm going to say, they are pretty damn good. I like them. They're definitely better than me. They got tons of great shading. Great highlighting. The eye really pops out. Like, I mean, that is Suris's design. But they should definitely keep doing it. I want to see more of their work.
Not gonna lie, one of my favorite styles of artwork is this type of like soft shaded style here that looks like it could have been made with chalk. Like I love this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it's very pleasing to look at. The next one we have here is well, it's a thing. It's it's definitely a series of images. Let's begin with the coin in the dryer saying, "Oh, you think you're safe." Holchan, the portal waifu, approving
Her hair design. I'm going to actually back that up. Easy second. I do like look at that detail into the hair. That really stands out for me, honestly. Again, this person has pretty great highlighting, shading. It could be a little more in the lines, I guess. But honestly, they're pretty great. Definitely, again, better than me.
Holchan, the portal waifu, approving
Portal waifu.
Apparently, this is Mish Monster, the person who made this at all. It said, I drew me and Suris making out. says, "Nya, I love you," and me going, "Aw, that's sweet, but I do have things to do. Do we have to snuggle in the laundry room?" Huh. Well then, there's certainly a lot going on in this image. And I don't know if Hol-chan does approve, but apparently, according to the canon of this image, it happens. Well, okay, apparently, canonically, there's a person who I snuggle with in laundry rooms. I'm a bit single for that, but apparently that's a thing happening. As always, everybody, thank you all for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, let's go ahead and get right into today's topic.
I might be getting a portal ready or something. Pay a visit.
So, here we are. Here we are. Again, older article, but it still checks out. A Nevada bill would allow tech companies to create governments. An advertisement needs to go away. So, Carson City planned legislation in Nevada to establish new business areas in Nevada would allow technology companies to effectively form separate local governments. No, 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 no,
What?
no.
No, he didn't say it enough. No, 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 no.
Before we go any further, no. We've already done the Sawmill Town thing. We've already done that shit. We've done this before. We've been in this timeline once before. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do the company town. The idea that, oh, let's just make a local government that only has a profit motive and profit incentive, that's definitely going to be able to treat human beings like actual people.
Oh yeah, and just think about how the different like Niji has treated their talents, that agency, how Niji Sanji has treated their talents with stuff. If they start getting free reign of like company towns to oh, this is painting a bad picture. But I'm terrible at explaining myself right now. That's why I let Suris do it.
Definitely, definitely. Said it's a good idea on paper? No, it's not.
Oh my god, no. Okay. We all know that companies are extremely exploitative of their workers. Nobody is okay, some people are happy about it, but most people are not. Most people don't want to be selling their labor. And this tech companies being able to create their own company towns with being able to and combine that to VTuber agencies. God, I gotta be able to think straight clearer. I need more weed, don't I? But if VTuber agencies were able to create their own towns, that I can actually see where that commenter is coming from. In one sense, if there is not one person running that company town, let's say there was a worker cooperative where no one person owned that, but it was an entire town that was for that cooperative. I would definitely want more diversity in there than just the VTubers, the streamers, the artists, all that. Just them in the town. I'd want more than that, obviously. But on paper, please explain why I'm confused here, Suris.
Not only is it a bad idea on paper, it's a bad idea in execution. Every time this idea has been executed, it has been rife with fucking human rights violations. So these people think cyberpunk dystopias are aspirational? Yeah. Like, I may love fucking hospitals and malls and anything that can be construed as like its own ecosystem, right? Just within itself. Because like if you are in a hospital, you can technically live there and not leave the hospital for years. Same with a mall, same with a lot of places. That does not make those ideal places to live. That just means that I grew up watching Dawn of the Dead and I have a problem. I grew up playing Resident Evil and I have a problem.
Yeah, you and me, Suris. You and me both.
That doesn't mean everybody should go and ideally live in those places. Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak announced a plan to launch so-called innovation zones in Nevada to jumpstart the state's economy by attracting technology firms.
Who remembers the docu called The Corporation Going into the Hypothetical of Treating a Company as a Person? And conclusion, corporations are psychopaths? Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all if the document came to that conclusion. Jeez.
Las Vegas Review-Journal reported on Wednesday. The zones would permit companies with large areas of land to form governments carrying the same authority as counties, including the ability to impose their own taxes.
Their own fucking taxes? Okay, that stinger now makes sense. What the fuck?
Why the fuck would you want a company town to tax you on the money you make from the town? It's one thing to have taxes that are coming from the government, right? You know, because they're paying for shit like roads for you and your kid's education system and all kinds of shit. At least they should be, including they should be paying for your health care. That's something they should be doing.
Yeah, that is really something they should be doing. What the actual fuck? But we're here about the company towns.
We need to be doing that in America. Healthcare, please. But why the fuck would you want to give companies the ability to impose taxes on their employees? What? That means you get taxed twice, potentially even 3 times. I can't wait to pay federal, state, and company tax.
Who wouldn't jump at that idea? People just love their taxes, don't they?
Oh my god. My god. And before some idiot comes into the comment section like, but sir, is taxes bad? No, taxes are an okay thing. There's nothing wrong with taxes. It's all about implementation.
That's my point, yeah. Because, like, there are a lot of people that just do jump in with, oh, I hate taxes, they're just stealing my money, but you kind of need to pay that money to pay for your roads and shit. Like, seriously. Excuse me. Oh, but how about voting their own leaders? If companies there in Nevada want a political setup, then have voting and democracy of company leaders too? Yeah, that's like what I was thinking. Like, if it's going to be a company town, if it has to be a company town, can it at least be a worker cooperative company? But I don't think we would be able to force whoever's doing this into making a worker cooperative company town. They're just looking to exploit the people at the biggest scale they can.
Taking a portion from everybody's collective earnings so that collectively, as a group, we have better access to things like food, like school, like fire departments. That's a good thing. That's an objectively good thing.
Yeah, like, think about it. Who pays the fire department? The government. Where does the government get their money? Taxes. It's an extremely simplified thing, but we do legitimately need some kind of taxation in order to keep the society running. I know people are butthurt that they lose money some year and gain money some other years, but think about the big picture, please.
Giving businesses the ability to do that? No. No. said the measure is to further economic development with the alternative form of local government. It has not yet been introduced to the legislature, again, as of 2 years ago. Sisolak pitched the concept in his State of the State address delivered on January 19th. The plan would bring in new businesses to the forefront of groundbreaking technologies without the use of tax abatements or other publicly funded incentive packages that previously helped Nevada attract companies like Tesla.
Why does this guy sound like Kermit the Frog? Because he's hot. I actually never really noticed that comparison with his voice, but I do actually really like Suris. And legit, if we were nearby, I would definitely want to snuggle him. I've seen what he looks like. I hope he watches this video and sees this clip. More like replacing the liberal democratic model of towns with neo-feudal setup of capitalists on top, worker serfs on the bottom. Yeah, that's essentially what company towns are as we know them right now. And more solidarity waves from Angel Tail. Angel Tail is a sweetheart.
So it worked fine in the past, and you don't want to do it again in the future? Okay, fair enough. Sisolak named Blockchains LLC as a company that had committed to developing a smart city in an area east of Reno after legislation had passed. Blockchains LLC. So
Blockchains LLC is what they're wanting to develop a city with? Oh my god. Can NFTs get worse? I didn't think so. Turns out yes.
So crypto.
Yes.
So I know you said this article is old. Did the legislation go anywhere? Here's the thing. It's not about the legislation itself. It's not about the individual legislation. It's about the fact that that conversation is happening in Congress.
Yeah,
It's about the fact that this is a conversation happening right now.
Anything can get worse. Just add a death game to it, like in anime, and like in Squid Game. That super popular thing I never watched. But
because for the longest time we had anti-LGBTQ legislation that would get brought in repeatedly from 2010 onward, and the conversation always led to, but did it pass? No? Okay, cool. Then it doesn't matter. But over time, we've seen that anti-trans legislation has unilaterally been passing in multiple states over and over again. Eventually, when something is introduced enough, a variant of it, a version of it, some way to utilize that anti-X legislation comes into play. So when we have something like this, this is a sign. This is indicative that this conversation is happening in Silicon Valley. These are things that tech bros are wanting to have happen. These are things that we are wanting later. Actually, we already knew this was something that they wanted to do in the first place. If you remember when we watched the Cryptoland video, cringy as the Cryptoland video was, Cryptoland still was a sign that there was at least somebody, some handful of people who had some amount of money that desperately wanted to take blockchain tech and somehow create a environment where just a whole bunch of people could work doing blockchain shit together on a deserted island away from everybody else. And they'd treat it like a little bit of a vacation. They would treat it like this really cool thing, but it's really just a whole bunch of people being forced to work for a shitty tech company. The draft proposal said that the traditional local government model is inadequate alone to provide the resources to make Nevada a leader in attracting and retaining businesses and fostering economic development in emerging technologies and industries. The governor's office of economic development would oversee applications for the zones, which would be limited to companies working in specific business areas, specifically blockchain, autonomous technology, the Internet of Things, robotics, artificial intelligence, wireless, biometrics, and renewable resource technology.
Wireless biometrics? Isn't that like watching or paying attention to your fucking, like your heart rate, your pulse, blood pressure, that kind of thing? Oh wait, no, there's a comma there. That's my bad. Oh, cool. The people that are developing blockchain company town is also developing artificial intelligence, autonomous technology, the Internet of Things. Yeah, these guys. How much coke are these guys on?
Biometrics and renewable resource technology. So just all of the things that are on the horizon right now that have been developing in massive strides over the last few years. Zone requirements would require applicants owning at least 78 square miles, 202 square kilometers, of undeveloped, uninhabited land without a single county but separate from any city, or within a single county but separate from any city, town, or tax increment area. Companies would have at least 250 million and plans to invest an additional 1 billion in their zones over the course of 10 years. The zones would initially operate with the oversight of their locations' counties, but would eventually take over county duties and become independent governmental bodies. So let's start with the government overseeing it, as they probably.
So, from my understanding, the company literally would be its own government in that city, in that state, or in that county of that state, whatever. But states' laws wouldn't apply to it, right? Would that mean this only the company would determine what can or can't be done? That is crimson red flag. Holy
Probably
shit.
should, and let's end with just letting them take control. Do you know what happens when you do this? You know what happens when you do this? Are you familiar with the concept, flawed as it may be, but the concept of putting a frog in boiling water? The idea carries
What?
weight, irrespective of any actual, like, real life parallel with the experiment. The idea carries weight that if you slowly burn something, if you slowly ease something into a bad situation, it's very hard for it to tell when the situation is bad. Here's an example I'd like to give to you. Let's say you're in a relationship and things go really well for the first year. Everything's wonderful and you're just having a grand old time. You guys have so much in common and everything is wonderful. And then in the next year, everything's great. You guys are having just a wonderful time, but the sex has slowed down a little bit, and you don't really share in each other's hobbies the way you did in the first year. You chalk this up mainly to the fact that you and the person that you're with have been together and you've been almost desensitized to each other's touch and companionship, so you kind of assume that this is the natural progression of things. Year 3 comes along and you're in a relationship that really doesn't do physical things with each other that often. When you engage in each other's hobbies, it's very, very sporadic, and you find yourselves just not talking to each other as much as you used to. By the time year 4 comes around, the relationship has gone in a direction that you might consider toxic, but again, it's been so long, and this is one of those things that slowly changes over time. You're not seeing certain outbursts as toxicity. You're seeing it as stress over the bills, over a lot of different things that have been happening recently in both of your lives. You're willing to chalk up most of the behavior to just things that are happening outside. None of this is internal, and none of it has anything to do with the sanctity of your relationship. By the time year 5 comes around, you start realizing.
Oh my god, like he's making such solid he's got such solid analogy there. But I wanted to address what Angel Tail was saying. It could be interesting. Excuse me. Could be interesting if progressive peeps and organizers there in Nevada could turn that idea on its head and introduce more democratic measures into that bill. Basically to troll, but pretty much to show that democracy wonderful, especially in the workplace. Honestly, I love that idea. I have no idea if it would be even possible for me to reach out to there. But honestly, I would love to see that happen. Like if somebody could turn that on its head, like, hey, worker co-op.
That things are very off. You two feel more like roommates than you do, lovers, and let alone friends. By this point, your relationship has gone very, very sour, and you don't know when that happened. The reality of the situation is there was no when it happened. It was a slow burn, and it happened so slow that you never saw any signs. It all happened slowly, naturally. The frog sat in the water until it was too late and he was cooked to death. You've probably been in a similar situation if you've been in a long-term relationship, or maybe you've had a faster version of those events happen where things just kind of died out and you don't know why. It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship became rife with abuse, but things definitely changed, and they changed for a worse. And because they changed so slowly, and there was a built-in transitionary period, it was very hard for you to tell when anything went wrong, when anything happened. And it makes it impossible to try to talk about this stuff with your friends or in therapy or anything. You've just got the beginning of the relationship where things were great, and then where you are right now. Everything else just kind of blurs together because there is no one event you could point to where things went wrong, where things went bad.
Yeah, it's a gradient that he just literally described. And God, this is why I don't really go over Suris's videos, because I have like nothing to add to them. You guys should just watch him yourself, and there's a big chunk of my audience that already does. So there's a good chance that it's just reviewing the same stuff.
This is what happens when you do this thing where a company would be able to slowly
Also,
gain
nice, Nova.
governmental power over its own people. Sure, human rights violations may be kept in check for a while as the local county is taking control of everything because they're trying to do what's best for their citizenry, for the voters that keep them in office. But then over time, as they start becoming more and more hands off and letting the body of the technology industry take over everything in that given area, now, oh man, it's weird. People's hours are slowly getting cut, and some people are dealing with more and more crunch time than they're used to, and nothing's really being balanced the way it's supposed to be. I mean, things are getting done, money is being made, but everybody's getting more and more miserable. When did it happen? Well, there's not going to be a when. There's a slow burn, a transitionary period where, over time, giving more and more power exclusively to the company to operate as its own governmental body creates opportunities for abuse. That's the thing that happens. It's probably happened in your relationships. It's probably happened in your friendships. It's probably happened a handful of times, even ignoring the idea of a company store, like of a company town, being a bad thing. We've already been here, done this. We've done the sawmill town that owns the sawmill's apartment complexes, that owns the sawmill's grocery store, that owns the sawmill's recreational center. We've done this. We've been here. And now there's a lot of conversations happening around this because Disney technically governs itself to a very, very small degree. And there's a conversation happening where DeSantis is trying to strip the Disney Corporation of that, and Disney is trying to engage in their own suit about that. The two are going back and forth. And I think we can all agree that giving more and more power to institutions that only have an incentive of profit, as opposed to an incentive, towards its people, is not a good thing. It's not a good thing at all. You may resign yourself to the idea that, well, a business would not be profitable if it was actually hurting its employees or actually hurting its customer base. That doesn't make any sense. Why would a business be profitable and do those things? My guy, that's where marketing comes in. A business does not have to be good for its employees or be good for the people consuming its product. They merely have to be able to convince you through human psychology that that is what they're doing. They have to convince you that what they're doing is good and right and okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. All they have to do is...
I understand change, but at least progressive lawmakers could have some silly fun pushing back against these clearly anti-democratic bills. Oh my god, I wish the progressive lawmakers were that fun so that they could actually have some silly fun pushing against the anti-democratic bills, but I don't know. I've been getting a little more hands off with American politics, paying a little less attention to it less. Been trying to focus more on the VTuber community. How we can improve that.
Play the human brain. And guess what? I hate to tell you this, but the human brain ain't the best fucking tool in the world. It's a pretty dull implement, and we can screw it up real easily with a lot of things. Trauma, relationships, bad video games. Yeah, Sonic 06 is trauma-related. Let's go with that one.
Yeah,
and also,
yeah, 100%. Sonic 06 is trauma-related. You can't change my mind on that. And there are people that defend it. I don't know why. Gross.
Capitalism. Marketing. How many times have you downloaded a mobile game not because you wanted to play it, but because you saw an advertisement for it 1,200 times, and you just gave in eventually? You might have noted that you gave in, but sometimes...
Raid Shadow Legends.
You didn't need a thing, and a marketing firm's job is to make you convinced that you do need a thing. You might have downloaded that mobile game, or picked up that new flavor of Mountain Dew, or gotten that really weird tasting rotisserie chicken.
It was pretty good. Don't judge me.
You don't know where it's affecting you. All you know is you're not immune to marketing. All the company town has to do is convince you that it's good for you, the citizenry, and everybody else, that they have that kind of power. That's all they got to do.
Exactly. The biggest companies can sell you literal piles of shit and then just have you wanting to buy it because of their good marketing. Literally, nobody wanted to even eat bacon until companies started. Like, nobody wanted bacon because it was like the excess runoff part of the pig. And then, guess what? The company started thinking, well, how can we make money off of this scraps? Let's convince people that they like it, that it tastes great. And it turns out, yeah, it does taste great. And yeah, people do like it. And now that part of the animal's getting used as well. But that's just an effect of marketing in the end. Oh, in Tennessee, Pearson Sensei and John Sensei getting ousted, then reelected by their constituents. And then they've been gathering support via protest. Oh, right. Those two in Tennessee. Those two. Oh, those two. They got my support. I like those two. I like those two. If they're the two I'm thinking of.
So let's try not doing the whole company store shit, okay? Okay? Please. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to owe my soul to the company store. But with all that said, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, everyone, insert end of video tagline here.
Make sure to like. But yeah. Pause that. That that really honestly makes me worry about where things can go with, frankly, companies like Niji Sanji and how they've been treating their what's it, their employees. That's what I will say. And this conversation is happening in Congress. There is the rise of the VTuber community going on. Honestly, indie is doing pretty well. Like, indie VTubers are doing pretty damn well. And what's it? There is a bit of a rise of agencies. Most of them are not too big. Oh, didn't know that about bacon selling scraps here in the Philippines. Offal and scraps in different parts of meat being sold in small stores, not big supermarkets. Yeah, they mass produce like every little bit of it now. But yeah, bacon is popular because of advertising. God, I'm I myself, whoop, don't drop my phone. I myself am fucking so worried about just even joining an agency because you guys know how political I like to get, and being on contract for an agency would definitely mean I can't talk exactly the way I want to talk about the stuff I want to talk about. Cuz, I get controversial. But then there are the people that do want to secure their living situations. They want to secure that stable income, so they look to the agencies for that stable income. Then I just worry that there will be agencies like, oh my god, I wish I had that article. I thought there was like an agency that was setting up a. Did I bookmark it? No. 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 No, it doesn't look like I bookmarked it. But I think it was like Hololive or somebody was setting up a new studio. Not necessarily completely related, but I mean, they're expanding out in that way. And Well, that talk is in Congress in America. I worry. Is that talk also going to be in Japan? Is that going to affect? Is that going to affect? What's it? Is that going to affect? God damn it! Is that going to affect the JP branches of like Niji Sanji and Hololive? Are they going to start wanting to start pushing for company towns in Japan?